Hello and welcome to What's Next. It's the Indy NXT Oval Series here from Pensacola, Florida at the Five Flags Speedway, home of the Snowball Derby. We're in for 100 laps of short track action here in the Indy NXT Oval Series for our one and only half mile on the schedule for this season before we return to more, traditional venues for these Indy NXT machines. As the following week will be at the Iowa Speedway. Sophie, what are we in for here from Pensacola?
I think we are going to be in a lot of fast-paced, narrow, tight quarters racing here at Five Flags. It's a very tricky track to get around. Normally not a track you would ever expect to see a car like the Indy NXT on, Jacob. So I guess we're going to expect something unprecedented here.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to head into qualifying now. The track record here at the Five Flags Speedway was set by one Ty Majeski for the 2015 Snowball Derby at 16.120 on that sheet. We're expecting a couple seconds faster here from Five Flags tonight. We're going to ride out with current championship points leader Dylan Vilashinsky. There he is rolling on to lap number 1 here from Five Flags. On board with him now as he heads down towards turns 3 and 4. Conclude this first lap here. Cold tire is very, very tricky here. He'll set his first lap of a 14.095. We'll see likely a break into the 13s here if he can nail this second lap here. Here he comes around 3 and 4. 13.746. Sorry. 792 rather, or 729 rather.
Yeah, Adam Blocker immediately goes a little bit quicker there with that 13.648. One of the things we've seen in a lot of these short ovals, Jacob, is because the bottom is harder to really get the car hooked up with on these cold tires, that the person starting on the outside lane in P2, if they can get a good jump and really time the start right alongside the leader, they can actually be in the advantageous position come turn 1. So be curious to see how that shakes out. Passing here does seem to be a bit tricky. Unlike those super late model Snowball Derby machines, you can't really rub fenders here. So gonna be a lot of setting it up, making sure that you manage your car really well. The setup appears to be hard on those right rear tires.
Yeah, and you'll see kind of as we watch outboard with Indy Kirchenbauer here as he continues to log laps here in qualifying that there's kind of two distinct lanes around Five Flags here, maybe a lane and a half, if you will. You've kind of got right along the bottom, and you've kind of got the lower half of the second lane above the dashed line that you see there kind of as he halts on the back straightaway here after putting his car currently second on the board. Still a couple cars left to take time, amongst them last night's Indy NXT Road Series winner Andre Castro. He's back for some more Indy NXT action on the short track here tonight. We've got ourselves full cast of characters from top to bottom here tonight. We'll make sure to give everyone their due across 100 laps from Five Flags tonight. Just a couple minutes left to go in qualifying here. Actually, it'll come to a close now.
Yes, and Castro goes P5. Field is incredibly tight. Of those who set a time, everyone's within 0.6 of a second.
That's certainly going to be interesting to see, especially for drivers maybe able to work their way on worn tires a bit better, work through cars maybe ahead of them that don't hold on to that Firestone rubber quite as well as their competition behind them. We'll just have to see how that evolves over the course of the distance here tonight. Wait until we get a couple more cars out there on the grid. Of course, we'll get 2 pace laps here. Track is under 1 mile at the half-mile Five Flags Speedway here. And we'll roll into the starting lineup here as more cars take to the track. We'll start with none other than the pole sitter tonight, and that'll be Power Slides Adam Blocker. Will line up on the front row here tonight. He'll set a 13.648 to Indy Kirchenbauer, who along up beside him, the inaugural series champ. He lines up in second with a 13.686. Dylan Vilashinsky will line up second row on the inside alongside Ashton Metters. Andre Castro in that Guinness machine will line up in fifth alongside reigning Junior Open Oval Challenge champ in David Powers. Clay Kirchenbauer will line up 7th in the number 7. Jesse Francisco, who put up a solid performance from USA Internationals, back for another round here at Five Flags. Kelly Dahl will line up 9th alongside Jason Goodman in the 10th spot. Taylor Thurman's got fans in the chat as always. He'll line up 11th in the 13. Cush Wells in the 17 will line up 12th ahead of Ryan A. Brown and Ian Murphy in row number 7. Jamison Russell, Gary Yost, Casey Lee, and Bill Walker will round out the field. Those last two not getting a time in qualifying, and we'll see how this field gets underway here once the pace car rolls off in just a couple moments' time.
Yeah, it's once again interesting to note how the start's going to shake out. Is Indy Kirchenbauer going to be able to take advantage of maybe not having as difficult of a strain on his Firestone tires, or maybe will he be locked out of the bottom by Dylan Vilashinsky? We're going to have another pace lap behind the generic automation-esque sedan that is the iRacing pace car. Curious to see how this race shakes out, Jacob. Again, open wheel machinery, not something you typically see at a racetrack like this.
No, the half-mile bull ring style tracks are something that's a bit foreign to open wheel machinery in modern day. We've seen footage of times gone by where the likes of the USF 2000s have taken the likes of Concord, but we're here at Five Flags, ready to go.
Green flag.
Indy next. Here we go.
Yes, and the green went out as soon as the pace car went off. Walker's got an excellent start. Vilashinsky's already got the bottom. Indy Kirchenbauer's trying to power ahead on the top. It's alongside Adam Blocker, not able to clear yet. The Prodigy, though, will lead the first lap, gets to the bottom, passes Adam Blocker the hard way around the outside.
And is just able to build up that momentum that little bit quicker on the outside lane, keep Blocker kind of pinned down. And that's, I think, going to be how you're going to see a lot of passes be made throughout the field tonight.
Yes, and towards the back of the field, you'll see that with the likes of Ryan Brown and Kelly Dahl, they are all too wide still, as Dylan Vilashinsky is currently looking underneath Adam Blocker.
Yeah, Blocker holding tough on the outside of Vilashinsky. We're actually going to bust out one of these drone cameras they've got here for Five Flags. Track's so small, we can actually kind of watch it all from the start-finish line here. Here they come back to 2 here. Kirchenbauer goes purple with a 13.560 that time by.
Yes, that is faster than anyone qualified. So, once again, it was an issue of being tire limited, as they would say, during qualifying. Adam Block is starting to pull a little bit ahead of Dylan Vilashinsky. Pack is beginning to spread out and kind of settle down here a little bit.
Now we actually go back. Andre Castro kind of leads the big train of cars. He's got David Powers all over the back of him and the whole rest of the field more or less behind him.
Yes, Andre Castro, no stranger to these cars, but mostly on the road side of things. Obviously, he won last night at Portimao. Ashton Metters currently also holding on to the back of the Get Good racing machine of our points leader, Dylan Vilashinsky, who Adam Blocker is pulling away from, but Adam Blocker really isn't making inroads on the Prodigy, Indy Kirchenbauer. Another thing to note here, Jacob, this race did not split, so we're kind of seeing some of the fighting in the back of the pack between Bill Walker and Ian Murphy. Those two are now only just 3 seconds ahead of Kirchenbauer. They could play a factor in this race before not too long.
Yeah, that's the thing with these short tracks, right, is that you kind of get to the lap traffic very, very quickly, especially on single-file restarts, which we hopefully won't see later on in the going. I know saying it at all is going to put us right up to it. But so far, so good as we're working on to lap number 13, I believe, or too long here. There we go, 13. Andre's actually kind of talking to his point. He actually won the inaugural event we had here for the Indy NXT Oval Series from Iowa. So he's certainly no stranger to getting it done on the ovals too, but this might be a bit more unfamiliar territory for the driver than number 2 tonight. He's kind of started to build a gap up to David Powers behind.
And there is actually a battle brewing over the last spot in the top 10. Kelly Dahl, Ryan A. Brown, and Taylor Thurman. Thurman currently looking underneath Dahl now. Those three have been slugging it out for that final top 10 spot. Thurman wants it. loses a lot of momentum on the bottom there. And Ryan A. Brown now is going to be looking underneath as Taylor Thurman tries to build the momentum. It's really difficult to get alongside and then to build enough momentum to complete the pass, Jacob.
Yeah, it's very much something you want to get alongside on entry, kind of compromise the outer lane for that driver on the outside so you can kind of muscle your way forward, if you will. Obviously, you don't have fenders or side pods, or, well, I guess full-on side panels to move each other out of the way with, so you got to kind of just make your car as wide as you can, as Dahl's going to look to the inside on Jason Goodman for 9.
Yeah, and then Thurman just shoves it up the inside. Doesn't get as good of a momentum run off the corner, but really is doing everything he can to try and get around Kelly Dahl here. Thurman has the position currently, maybe might even get Jason Goodman in the process, as he is really making that bottom line work for him.
Yeah, he's kind of using the fact that Goodman on the outside, slowing up that outside lane ever so slightly. He's going to work his way on through, make the pass on both Dahl and Goodman within 1 lap, move Thurman up to 9.
Yeah, and Brown is already underneath Kelly Dahl, who's probably frustrated because he was also working over the likes of Jason Goodman, but couldn't get around him and was kind of forced into that spot by Thurman. Yeah, and now he is further boxed out.
Yeah, they were 3 wide off turn 2 for just a moment as Dahl was kind of trapped in the middle of these two teammates here between Goodman and Brown. Brown's going to work his way forward into the 10th spot. Dahl will continue to try to work over Jason Goodman for 11th now. Almost makes that pass clear off of turn number 4. He'll get it done in 1 and 2 this time. Start to try to bound his way forward, maybe try to build that forward momentum back up as we work closer to lap 25, getting to the quarter-way mark here from 5 Flags.
Yeah, we are at the quarter-way mark, and one of the things to highlight again, Bill J. Walker, currently the last running car on track, is only a 1.5 seconds ahead of Indy Kirchenbauer. Kirchenbauer is going to start getting some dirty air from that lapped car, and pretty soon we'll have to start worrying about passing them. Lap time difference is pretty even, though, only about a 10th or 2 off. As the lap times now are starting to fall off, as those Firestone tires, they're starting to feel the heat here in Florida.
Yeah, of course, 5 Flags does not have night lighting here, at least in its iRacing iteration, so we have to play in the daytime here, and that also plays a factor with how these tires are going to wear out. Take a quick look at the weather here. Track temperature 118 degrees, 13-mile-an-hour east wind means that we're going to see a bit more degradation than we may see if it was a bit of a cooler track, maybe in the morning hours here, as we're kind of in the middle of the day here in Pensacola. You can see Bill Walker off in the distance as we ride on board with Indy Kirchenbauer here, and that gap's starting to get closer and closer by the inch every lap. That last time by, Indy was picking up about 1/4 of a tenth of a second, and that's a lot more than you may think it is with just how fast these laps are here tonight.
Yeah, one of the things that I do have to remind people of is, unlike the series you may have been watching earlier tonight, the iRacing IndyCar Oval Fix Series, or Fix It, as those in the community like to call it, they get 2 sets of Firestone tires to play with, plus the 1 on the car. What these drivers are currently running now, that's all they get here in the Indy NXT Oval Fix Series, so you got to make your tires last. There is nothing to save you if you meatball your tires by eating through all that Firestone rubber. So they're not being careful with it. Jacob, they might find themselves in a world of pain.
Well, I am looking at the last time around prior to this lap, rather. Adam Blocker was about 1/10 faster than Kirchenbauer and closed in a good ways into that lead he has. It's going to be very much that kind of long game here, I think, at the front of the field. You're going to have to keep these tires underneath you. Obviously, nobody's going to be in clean air forever, as I think we're going to catch lap traffic likely before the halfway mark here. And that's going to be troublesome for these leaders that are, you know, maybe putting a bit of extra wear on the tires, pushing them that little bit harder to make the lap time here around Pensacola.
Yeah, one of the things that this reminds me of, Jacob, one of the things that's fairly common in short track racing in these kind of machineries here, for those not familiar, you can't really push the car as hard as you want to and expect the tires to last. Like, there's kind of a speed limit of sorts in which you can go and still reasonably take care of your tires especially if you're like scrubbing them. There is a fight to watch here besides up front, Jacob. Looks like David Powers has pulled a little bit ahead of Clay Kirchenbauer, but just ahead of him is the Cinderella story from earlier this season. Jesse Francisco currently looking on the back of the father of the prodigy for the 7th spot.
Yeah, we're also watching that gap at the front continue to dwindle as Adam Blocker's gotten to within half a second of Indy Kirchenbauer for the lead here. That likely will come closer and closer as Kirchenbauer closes in towards lap traffic. And those cars ahead of him are still fighting for position and clogging up the lanes ahead.
Yeah, so it's going to be really difficult for Indy to find a way by them if they aren't really interested in being cooperative, which right now, why would they? They are fighting for position. They are entitled to do that. If the yellow comes out, they'll stay on the lead lap. This isn't a road series where there aren't full course cautions, so really, you have no incentive to just roll over for the leader, as frustrating as that might be. Indy now looking to the high side, looking for any kind of clean air, maybe a way to build momentum. Blocker, again, that last lap, just that half a tenth faster, and that's kind of just caught up that little bit each time, taking chunk out of that lead.
And we work on to lap 43 now, working our way down towards turns 3 and 4 here. See Indy still trying to work the high side, trying to build the momentum off the corner here. And I think he's also got to keep in mind that working this upper lane means he's got to be much more precise on his exit, as that's ultimately where he's going to make up the bulk of his time or speed around here, is on the exit of the corner. Leaves you vulnerable on entry, but if you can hold that momentum and stay tough on the outside, that's what's going to keep him ahead of Blocker, who continues to hound him from behind as they continue to try to figure a way around the lap machine of Ian Murphy here.
Yeah, Ian Murphy there running the bottom, and that's kind of one of the things is he's drifting. He is, kind of running up the track and is feeding Indy Kirchenbauer some dirty air. Indy Kirchenbauer's already popped on voice chat asking the 18 for a reprieve, which he does give as the 18 goes into the wall. Murphy had no obligation to do that, but that's a sporting thing to do. Really wasn't no longer fighting for position with Bill Walker there. Walker is now streaked out to a 2.5 seconds ahead of the field. But I wonder if that did a number on Indy's tires more than Blocker, because Blocker was really slowing the car up in the corner, getting down to the bottom, not really asking the tires to do too much, because he was really arcing the car in. And I think that might play beneficial to the lifespan of those Firestone tires.
Yeah, the less they have to kind of follow cars close ahead, as Kirchenbauer is going to pull out a bit of a gap now that they're in a bit of a clean air bubble, if you will. They've got a ways to work down the road now to get to Bill Walker in that 17th spot as we pass the halfway mark, working on the lap 51 of 100 here. Continue to circulate around the half-mile Five Flags Speedway. Well, thank everybody for tuning into this one. It's been a rapid race here, as laps have been a little over 14 seconds all night long as we work through the halfway point of this race. We'll highlight the rest of our coverage throughout this week on P1. As Indy Kirchenbauer continues to lead, we'll actually fall back to the battle for the 3rd spot as Ashton Metters is on the back of Dylan Vilashinsky.
Yeah, Dylan Vilashinsky having kind of an uncharacteristic night here. He's just not really had the pace to be fighting out front for the lead, and so he's just kind of been quietly logging laps. And now Ashton Metters has maybe found something. He's running a little bit, maybe half lane up on Dylan Vilashinsky, trying to get clean air on that wing, but also Metters has Andre Castro to worry about now. Castro is looking on the low side.
Yeah, Castro's been bounding his way forward. We saw him in kind of the fight for the rest of the field here over the likes of David Powers and crew. He's worked his way up to the back of this battle for the bottom step of the podium. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, Adam Blocker, big drop back on the pace front for him. He's almost 2 seconds adrift of our leader here. What happened to him? He's caught now in this battle for the rest of the podium here.
Yeah, I wonder maybe he got loose off the corner, because again, the Indy NXT really drives off the right rear. So yeah, Blocker looks to be very struggling on corner exit, and that's really when you're going to be asking a lot of that right rear. No, blocker spins, blocker hits Castro.
Caution, yellow flag.
We are under yellow, just past halfway. Former Pro Series driver, chief of engineering, I believe, at Chip Ganassi for their NXT program is Adam Blocker. He's got some damage to that car. I don't see a meatball for him. Blocker admits my fault on that, and apologies to Castro. Let's take a look at what happened here, Jacob.
Yeah, we've got him off of 2 now. We kind of caught just the start of that. So here he is rolling through turns 3 and 4 with Dylan Vilashinsky to the inside here. You're going to see him get caught out kind of the outer edge of the track. You see a big load of marbles up there. He's going to get loose, slide the car down the track, contact with Castro. Going to knock the rear wing off Castro's machine. That'll come back. It looks like iRacing forgave that one. We'll see how much damage Blocker has on his IL-15 on the front of that machine, but ultimately a 2-car incident just a little past the halfway point is going to put us under our first yellow of the night. He'll come down the pit lane to likely repair the front end of that machine and get it under wraps there. We'll actually get to the highlighting of the rest of our coverage this week. That battle heated up very, very quickly. Tomorrow night, myself and Sophie are back with the Formula Super Series from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday night, myself and Caleb Brashear, I believe, will be in the booth for the AMA Grand National Series from Bristol. And then Friday night, we'll have Gary and crew on the call for AMA Trucks, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time from Bristol. Sunday night, or Sunday rather, 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the Classic IndyCar Series, their 6th round from Homestead. And then we'll have Votive's 6th round of their 4th season from Homestead at 8 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday evening. And we'll wrap back around to Monday night next week. I believe the lights are out on the iRacing pace car, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed they are, Jacob. That pace car's going to peel off. Remember, that green flag came early. So the field's going to be very soon in the control of Indy Kirchenbauer. Adam Blocker did get back out on the lead lap. He's at the tail end of the field.
Yeah, he'll line up 16th. We'll keep an eye on him and see if he can make forward progress following that
Green flag, green flag.
incident.
We are back underway. Indy Kirchenbauer goes late. Dylan Vilashinsky kind of got a really good run. Immediately is attacking Kirchenbauer. Question is whether or not he can get the drive off the corner. Yeah, question is, can he get the drive off the corner?
They're leaving each other so good amount of space here, which you kind of have to do to make this work, and they're staying side by side for these first couple laps after the restart here. Indy's trying to wind that machine up almost into the outside wall off turn number 4. Vilashinsky still fighting on the inside lane here as they head through 1 and 2.
Yes, Indy got a little loose there off the corner. Excellent racing between these two competitors here. Indy just gets him at the line here. I don't know if they can do this for 40 laps, Jacob, but that would be a thrilling thing to watch here.
Well, Indy's obviously got quite a bit of background on dirt, both in the real world and on the iRacing sim. He knows how to dirt track it sideways up against the outside wall, and he's making that thing
Castro
work.
got loose behind them.
Yeah, 2x2 at the front here as Ashton Metters has joined the party on the outside of Castro. He'll make that move for 3rd stick. Vilashinsky almost clears Kirchenbauer off 2 this time. They'll stay side by side as they head into 3 and 4.
Caution, yellow flag.
Oh, yellow flag is out, and I noticed Gary Yost disconnected. Oh, and Taylor Thurman's against the wall.
Ooh, yeah, that's big damage for the driver of the 13. We'll have to see what happened to him. So here he comes off turn number 4. Working their way onto the front straightaway. I'm going to guess may not be this lap with how far back as these replay cameras go. So we'll just kind of watch as he navigates turns 1 and 2 here, kind of working the outside lane. We'll see. Machine. Oh, not sure who that is on the bottom there, but they make contact with the left rear of Thurman's machine, send him up into the wall. That'll be night done.
And
for
Adam
Thurman.
Blocker has retired.
Yeah, we're actually getting notice from one Jason Brophy in the chat that he blew his right rear tire, 15% tread left on that Firestone tire. So certainly a very, very grating track, rough on these Firestones here from Five Flags.
Yes, Blocker actually had a moment on lap 66 for him where going through 3 and 4, car just violently bucked and nearly spun. Blocker did a great job of keeping it pointed in the right direction, but ran out of track, hit the wall, and damaged his rear wing and kind of just pulled it in since there's no spare set of tire, and the cords were exposed on that piece of Firestone rubber. So Blocker used all the tire he had available to him. Unfortunately, used it too early.
Yeah, it's certainly something that kind of the combination of the banking, the heavy load on the tire around here, which is how fast you're trying to get around here, it's going to do quite a number very quickly. And unfortunately, Blocker's right rear lets go a little past the halfway mark here. We're getting into the final quarter in due time as we're under yellow for the second time. I believe the lights are back out on that iRacing pace car. We'll go green this time. Vilashinsky will get control of the field for the first time. Go ahead, Sophie.
I was going to say, Jacob, as they go under the control of the field, I'm curious to see if any of these people in the front are also in a similar boat to Blocker, given how hard they were pushing.
Green flag, green flag.
We'll have to wait.
Dylan Vilashinsky gets a great restart, immediately gaps the field. Kirkwood probably ruining that restart that he had previously, as he's now under assault by Ashton Metters.
Yeah, he'll have to fend off a hard-charging Ashton Metters, who runs in third at the moment. Andre Castro still in it in fourth. He's got Clay Kirchenbauer and Jamison Russell on the back of him as Metters is going to look to the inside into turn 3.
Yes, and Taylor Thurman, who was taken out in that last caution, none too pleased with the cause of that, and said, we're already back under yellow.
Jesse Francisco is parked on the front straightaway. See what happened to him. Ooh. Looks like some contact involved there. We'll get the cameras a bit further back there. I believe that's going to be the 10 of Jason Goodman involved in this one as well. Here they come into turns 3 and 4. Jesse's going to get down to the bottom here. That's going to be Ryan Brown ahead, Goodman behind. He's going to come up. Oh, he's already going around before Goodman even gets there. Goodman's left with nowhere to go.
Yeah, and I want you to focus on that right rear tire of Jesse Francisco. It's not quite showing the cords, but it doesn't look too happy, does it, Jacob? It looks like it's a very well-worn tire. I am willing to bet that everyone here, the pace of this race, I am wondering if maybe everyone didn't conserve their tires enough. And now they're going to be in a situation where they're hurting for their tire. They're going to find it easier to spin off the corner, Jacob.
Yeah, that's kind of just the difficulty that we're going to see, especially with restarts, right? When you put another cycle into the tire, having to get it cooled down and heated back up, that kind of does maybe a bit greater wear than if you just kind of kept running on it at speed. You're also a bit more prepared for it when you've kind of been clicking the laps off, but as we've gotten a couple yellows here now, past the halfway mark, we work on to lap 78 of 100. Lights remain on the pace car. We'll have 12 cars on the lead lap still, down to Cush Wells in the 17 machine. Ian Murphy, Jesse Francisco, Jason Goodman, all at least one down. Goodman's still in the pit lane, serving a meatball flag. Gary Yost is still circulating the track 3 laps down. I believe Taylor Thurman's also serving a meatball flag as well. Down at 17th, obviously, we got Adam Blocker's situation with his right rear giving way a number of laps ago.
Yeah, this has been a race of attrition and also just general strategy, Jacob, because one of the things people have been complaining about is pretty much everyone in the field has come over voice chat saying, I have gotten the tire warning, I've gotten about my right front, I've gotten a second warning. That's usually a sign that your tires are not looking too good. The only one who says they haven't gotten that warning is the man up front. And we are back underway at Five Flags with Dylan Vilashinsky out front.
And here we come. Metters is going to give up a challenge, or put on a challenge rather, for second with Kirchenbauer as Andre Castro's under. Oh, around.
Oh,
The yellow flag is
round
out.
goes Castro. Oh, everyone piles in there.
That'll be Ryan Brown up in the air. Castro's trying to pull away from it, but he's got cars stuck on top of him. We'll get
My
that machine
goodness.
rolling forward here. We'll get an eye at what happened here. So we're heading off turn number 2 here, heading down towards turns 3 and 4. You've got Kirchenbauer, Metters, Castro, then Russell as they all head down into 3 and 4 here. Here comes Russell on the inside. He looks and just maybe a little too high on the exit. It's going to make contact with the left rear of Castro, send Castro into the wall. Then Russell's there, and Ryan Brown tries to slow up for it, but ultimately runs into the back of Russell, mounts his car, gets on top of both Castro and Russell here on the front stretch. Castro tries to pull away from it, has to get that machine of Ryan Brown off of his car to get it pulled away here as Brown's trying to get off of Russell as well. Calamity here in the late stages.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just everyone's kind of losing their patience with. I mean, that was a very ambitious move from Russell, in my opinion. I think it's just a case of laps are kind of ticking down. It's a restart. Everyone's bunched together. I mean, we saw Metters up ahead nearly get loose himself. So tires are worn. Everything's kind of coming to a head, and I think people just lost patience.
Yeah, it's the short track tempers showing their colors. No matter what you put on them, they're gonna show something at the end of the day, and I think we're starting to see that with these numerous restarts here in the late stages of this race. We had a solid first half with green flag running, and it just seems like once you get the cars back together, especially on worn tires, we've heard already a number of drivers very, very deep on the tires. So we get the lights out on the pace car heading off turns 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. We'll get under green on lap number 85 here from 5 flags.
Yeah, so that pace car's going to dive on the pit lane. Vilashinsky giving it a gap so he can launch.
Green flag,
Once he
green
gets
flag.
through into the restart zone, he goes. Kirchenbauer gets a better launch this time. And isn't us under
The yellow
pressure by
flag is
Ashton
out.
Metters? We are already back under yellow.
Not seeing anybody around here.
It looks like it's Ian
Ah.
Ian Murphy and Jesse Francisco. Jesse Francisco gets to the inside of Murphy. He's kind of holding his line there, and it looks like Murphy just came down. Maybe just didn't expect that he was there, and just that little tap is enough. It just sends Murphy around.
Yeah, they're coming off the restart here. You see Francisco to the inside of Murphy here already, heading into 1 and 2. Murphy kind of holds his lane. Yeah, it's just close contact to the both cars. I think they're, the spotter takes a second to kind of kick in on these restarts, so they might have just not realized how close to each other they really were. And Murphy will get sent into the outside wall here late in the going. Tough break for the driver of the 18 machine tonight. He's put up a solid run so far this evening. Obviously was kind of at the tail end of the field on the green run there, but was able to stay on the lead lap for a good long while there, but he'll have to bring that IL-15 likely down the pit lane. Actually, he doesn't have a meatball flag, and the entire rear wing's off that car. Hopefully somebody can give him a heads up on that one.
Yeah, the laps are slowly ticking by here now. We are on lap 88 of 100. Still following behind the pace car. We are going back to green next lap. Quickly, just want to highlight again, looking through the field, some people's right rears seem to be in much better condition than others. So I'll be curious to see how everyone handles that. As the field's on the control of Dylan Vilashinsky.
Yeah, they're heading off turn 2 here into 3 and 4 once again, getting ready to put this race back under green, working on to lap number 90, I believe. Here they come. Vilashinsky goes. Ashton Metters is going to put that challenge back on Indy Kirchenbauer immediately this time as he looks to the inside in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't blame Ashton for just going for it because we had a caution almost immediately last time. So, and yes, there's a caution that he gets the position because of the timing less. Jesse Francisco once again is around.
Yeah, here he comes through 1 and 2. He's going to have, I believe it's going to be, oh no, he spins on his own on the inside lane off of 2 there. You see Ian Murphy trying to nurse that car with no rear wing. He'll go around as well.
One thing I want to highlight, if you focus on the right rear on Jesse Francisco, the cords are visible.
Yep.
So he is he does not have a meatball for those tires in that condition, but they aren't going to last much longer. So joining company of Adam Blocker, it's going to be Jesse Francisco having a blown right rear.
And we kind of figured going into this race it was going to be a challenge. It was going to be a test not only for the tires but for the drivers and being able to not only manage those tires but kind of set their expectations early. You know, we get a long green flag run. You're putting those tires under a good bit of duress and having to fight them late in the going. And we're seeing that now, especially with cars that were maybe fighting in the back portions of the top 5, the podium places, if you will. They've fallen away just by beating those tires a little too hard, and they're paying the price here in the closing stages.
Yeah, the tire game really is what's going to decide this race here. Indy Kirchenbauer started on the outside, really pushed the tires early to get the lead on Adam Blocker, and Adam Blocker was keeping up with him. And unfortunately, that did in Adam Blocker's right rear, and I'm curious if that also really hurt Indy Kirchenbauer, as he has now fallen down the order from first down to third. Has his father in Clay Kirchenbauer just behind him. Then in the final top 5 spot is David Powers.
Yeah, we'll see if Powers can make a move late in the going here. He's going to hang back a little further from these front runners as they head into 3 and 4. He'll get put in control of Dylan Vilashinsky once again. Here they go.
Green flag, green flag.
Working lap 95 of 100. Dylan Vilashinsky, the points leader, out front.
Watch the Kirchenbauers go at it for third here. Oh, Dahl's around.
Kelly Dahl's around.
Fortunately, everybody makes it by him, I believe, or them. Kelly sporting a players-inspired livery, I believe, on that IL-15, kind of the blue and white.
Yes, I believe, based off the contingency sponsors, that looks to be a Greg Moore tribute, fitting for the Canadian.
We'll get it back just a little bit further here. Off the restart, here we come. They're lined up right behind David Powers here. Powers was lined up in the 5th spot, so that puts Dahl in 6th. They'll head down towards turn 1 and 2. Work their way through that corner, relatively no issue. Get onto the back straightaway. You see Dahl kind of creep up the track here to the outermost lane, and then around they'll go. Just not enough left there to keep that car stuck in the track, and they're going to go around late in the going with just a handful of laps to go. Fortunately, no contact made by any other cars, so they're going to be able to get away on the tail end of the lead lap here with no damage, maybe catch another break here as we're going to get, I believe, one final restart here from Five Flags.
One of the things I want to highlight while we're getting one lap to green is Bill J. Walker, who was on the tail end of the lead lap, nearly went a lap down, is now managed his way. He is in 7th place after everything, and I was looking at his right rears, Jacob. They don't look anywhere near as bad as the cars around him, so maybe Bill can kind of get some people. Maybe he was saving his stuff.
He was putting maybe a bit of a cooler, calm, and collected pace through the opening stages. It's going to pay off here late in the going for him if he can keep that car pointed the right direction, as we're going to get one final attempt at a restart here with just 2 laps to go. I believe this is going to be a 1-lap shootout once we actually take it. So we'll hopefully end this race. Well, I don't know, can we get a yellow flag on the final lap? I don't even know.
No, we cannot. I believe we learned that during my first broadcast, way back last season at USA. So, one lap shootout. Dylan Vilashinsky, Ashton Metters, Indy Kirchbauer, your top three from Pensacola.
Green flag.
Green flag is in the air, and the white flag is in the air. Clay Kirchbauer looking in on the inside of Indy.
We'll roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. It looks like Indy's going to hold on to it. Clay gets a bit of a bobble. Vilashinsky.
Oh, there's a big mess behind.
Ooh, Cush
And
Wells
they're
goes
wrecking
around.
after the finish.
Yeah, we got Cush Wells upside down and into the wall. I'm not sure who else is involved in that one. They go for a ride.
What? Yeah, Kelly Dahl had another spin in turn 3 and 4 on his own. Also, I believe Ryan A. Brown had a massive spin on his own. Looks like everyone's right rear just kind of gave out right on the last tour there.
Well, Dylan's going to make sure his right rear gives out too, but he's going to do so in celebratory fashion here from Five Flags. We'll run through the finishing results here from a 100-lap thriller here from Pensacola. And it will be Dylan Vilashinsky winning over Ashton Metters, gap 0.276 of a second. Indy Kirchenbauer will round out the podium after leading the bulk of the opening stages. Just was not able to hold on once the field ended up back bunched up together. Clay Kirchenbauer will finish 4th ahead of David Powers. Casey Lee will finish 6th ahead of Bill Walker. Cush Wells, Kelly Dahl, last cars on the lead lap, I believe. I don't think Ryan Brown made it to the finish line, so he'll finish 10th. Working our way further down the results here, you've got Andre Castro, Jesse Francisco, Gary Yost, Ian Murphy, Jamison Russell, Jason Goodman, Taylor Thurman, and Adam Blocker rounding out the 18-car field here from Five Flags. Vilashinsky takes it to victory lane, and we'll get to talk to the podium finishers here this evening, see what they have to say about tonight's race from Five Flags. We'll bring Indy Kirchenbauer up here first. See if we can find his machine out on the race course. Get him. Get his machine up on the screen. Get him on up here. Indy Kirchenbauer, Jacob Collins, Sophie Connell, P1 Broadcasting. Got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Indy, you led the good portion of this opening race following an outside pass on Adam Blocker as you started second here tonight. Kind of walk us through how that opening stage went and maybe where it all went wrong come the final stages of the race here.
Yeah, I was just leading there and I didn't realize that the tires were gonna wear that bad. So I wish I would have known because I would have gone way slower when I was in the lead. Because I just pushed to hold off Blocker because he did not. At least it seemed like he did not know about the He did not know about the tire wear, so I just went with him, and not a good choice. So at the end there, my right rear is at 17. If there had been no yellows, I would have totally gotten to 0% and just died. So yeah, just not very good. I only did Q practice, and I ended up getting good on cold tires, but yeah, just not very good for the championship to fall down to P3 at the end there.
Yeah, certainly a tough race, and I'd imagine it's really hard to gauge just how much you're using your tires up at the front of the field here. Obviously, you don't really have a car ahead of you to gauge. Obviously, you had Adam Blocker behind you hounding you a good bit, but if everybody's kind of oblivious to the tire situation over the course of the race, that's kind of hard to really set a limit there and keep those Firestone tires underneath you. Were you maybe a bit hesitant to back it down early on in the going with that pressure being as hard as it was, knowing that track position tends to be a really big factor here in Indy NXT competition?
Yeah, I tried to hold them off as long as I could, and just didn't work out with the tires and everything. I know me and Dylan had that really good side-by-side battle for a long bit, so that was fun. Um, but outside of that, it was not not uh it was not because it's not a fun race. It was because I did not know how to make it a fun race. So that's just a skill issue on me, and I need to know how to not burn my stuff off when I thought that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, certainly a tough one to gauge over the course of this race. Obviously, 100 laps is the most in terms of circuits we perform in these Indy NXT Oval Series races. That just gives you all the more opportunity to put those tires under greater load and see them wear out come the end of this race. Sophie, you got anything for Indy tonight?
Well, Indy, curious to see again, how did you manage to kind of hold on to your tires a bit better than Adam Blocker did? Because ultimately, it was that right rear popping that did Adam Blocker in, and you ultimately did not have that issue. So you must have been doing something to try and protect that right rear.
Clean air. I mean, we were both pushing as hard as we could, and I just ended up having the clean air when Blocker didn't. So, yeah, just not, just didn't. It was difficult to gauge that for sure. I didn't think, like I said, I didn't think it would be an issue. So, yeah, just kind of frustrating. But, we'll move on to the next one at Iowa. So, hopefully we can have a better result. And I'm really excited for Darlington in 2 weeks. That should be really good.
Yeah, certainly a number of things to look forward to. You still pull out a podium finish despite the potential frustration of what could have been tonight, Indy. You know the drill. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody like shout out, floor is yours.
Yeah. My go-kart sponsors are BGM Marine Associates. Make something on YouTube. Bayside Comfort Heating and Cooling. And thank you for putting on the broadcast, and just thanks for everybody for coming out. Would have liked to have more so we could get a split, but I understand most people do not own this track, unfortunately, so we couldn't get that. But hopefully next week at Iowa and maybe Darlington can have better turnouts.
Yeah, sir.
So yeah, we have a really good rest of the schedule, and I will be there.
Yeah, certainly a lot left to look forward to throughout the rest of the season here in the Indy NXT Oval Series. Indy, we'll catch you out hopefully throughout the rest of the season as we head into the corn country in Iowa next week.
Yep, thank you.
That'll do it for Indy. I don't see Ashton Metters down there, but we'll give him his due for finishing second here tonight. Another solid performance from him. Get his red, yellow, and black machine up on the screen for a little while here, and then we'll bring up the man of the evening, man of the month, man of the year. I don't know. We could extend that timeline for at least a good while here as we'll get Dylan Vilashinsky on up here. Dylan, Jacob Collins, Sophie Connell, P1 Broadcasting. You got us?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, it was a second row start for you, but ultimately it looked like kind of you had your tire situation figured out better than anybody left at the front of the field once the restarts started coming in. You're able to battle Indy to get just ahead before one of those yellows came out late in the going to put yourself at the front of the field, and you never really looked back from there. Walk us through your race tonight.
Well, I had a couple of plans of attack in the event that, depending on how qualifying went, if I qualified up front, my whole plan was to try and just save as much tire and keep everybody behind me best I could. Because I ran a couple of races the previous night, and I was blowing tires after like 75 laps. I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work out. I figure something else out. So I got into this race, qualified third, and I was just going, please, I hope nobody else did like a bunch of practice and hasn't figured out about the tire wear situation tonight. So when I tried to get past Blocker on the start and I couldn't, I just was like, okay, I'm going to fall back and hopefully it runs green for a while and I can just save some tire and maybe hope for like a restart or something, or maybe they all fall off really bad towards the end of the race. I got past Blocker on under green as his tires started to go. And then I hate that he crashed and brought that yellow because I really wanted to see if I could catch Indy just on pace. But that yellow let me restart right behind Indy, and then I just was like, okay, well, hopefully I have better rear tires than he does. So I just sent it in there and then just kept trying my best to get back past him. And before another yellow came out. Then after that, once I got the lead, I was like, oh, I'm pretty much set here. I can control every restart, and everybody else has wore out tires now. So hopefully I can just, sit up front and just cruise to the finish.
Yeah, you talked about having some backup plans, and obviously having done the practice you put in this week to figure out kind of how the tires were going to really, really wear down. If people pushed the issue a little too hard, that certainly helped in your favor. The race kind of worked into your favor with that restart or kind of the yellow right after the halfway mark here. And kind of walk us through the long-term patience you kind of have to see that to fruition, especially at a track like this where, without some severe mistakes or issues for cars ahead, it's very tough to make up time at a track like Five Flags.
It's really annoying if you're not a patient person, because you're trying to maintain a distance to the leaders so that way when they do fall off, hopefully you can catch them. But you're also trying to go slow enough so that you're not, killing the tires and you have something to fight with at the end. So from like once, I think it was like what, lap 8 or something when I fell back behind Blocker until lap 50 or whenever that yellow was, and just sitting there and riding, it's painful, especially as you can see the guys behind you starting to catch up and you're thinking like, I gotta be disciplined here. I can't push the tires. I gotta try and save them best I can in case something happens. But man, the payoff's good when you get restart upright with them and you've got that power to put your foot to the floor and actually have grip to get the car going.
Yeah, certainly got to really, really test yourself in a lot of ways to pull off a performance like that over the course of a fairly long race. Obviously, without pit stops here, it feels long. We talk kind of every time we come to one of these short tracks about how physical these tracks can get, sore shoulders, maybe feeling it in your arms here. Sophie, what do you got for Dylan tonight?
Well, Dylan, obviously the tire wear prep was really critical for you for the win. One of the things I was doing during the cautions was looking, and yeah, your right rear was still shiny during those first few cautions. Really, how difficult was it to remain patient? Because you were under assault from the likes of Ashton Metters and Andre Castro there right before that first caution. Were you at any point worried that you would fall further behind if you were continuing to preserve that tire?
I had to start pushing a little bit once Metters got up to me, because I felt like I had a chance at the leaders if I was sitting in third, but I felt like if I was going to start falling back, my chances of getting to the front were going to become slimmer and slimmer. So when he got up to me, I started trying to run that higher line to get those better exits with the hope that Metters would start burning his rear tires off real fast, and then hopefully I wouldn't have to fight him off for too long. Once Blocker started falling back and I was able to get below him, and that held them up for a little bit. It was a big wave of relief just because, you're trying so hard not to overdo the tires, not to slide the rears on exit, hoping you're going to get that payoff towards the end. So a lot of things felt like I had to go my way tonight to make it all work, but I'm really glad it all did.
Well, we'll certainly congratulate you once again on a stout performance here in the Indy NXT Oval Series from Five Flags, bringing home another win, extending that championship's points lead. You know the drill. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to shout out, floor is yours. Yeah,
I'm going to shout out Taylor Thurman and David Powers. Both of them ran Taylor ran last night and David ran this night in one of the two of the races that didn't go official, but they ran the whole distance with me. And it gave me someone to compare against with the tire wear and like teach myself like how hard I'm able to push the car without killing the rear tires and like how fast I need to be going to be able to stay in front of people and hold people off. So their help was super valuable. for my result tonight. And as usual, shout out to the Get Good Racing School and shout out to Sprint Car Cup. Their races are 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday for the high strength of fields.
Well, we'll certainly shout them out as well. They were putting up some solid runs here tonight from Five Flags. Thurman had his own struggles. I think Power still got out with a top 5. We'll thank them for joining us here as well. Once again, thank you for joining us up here in the booth, Dylan. We'll hopefully catch you out next week as the Indy NXT Oval Series heads to Iowa.
Hopefully I don't wreck out of that one like last season.
Yeah, I think you still have yet to make the finish to one of those, I think.
I haven't in a strength of field race yet. I did a couple in that first week that they came out, but strength of field races have not been very successful so far for me.
Well, hopefully third time's the charm as we'll revisit the Iowa Speedway in its modern configuration. Go celebrate, Dylan. Have a good one.
All right, you guys have a good one. Appreciate it.
And that'll do it for tonight's winner, Dylan Vilashinsky, once again coming out on top in the Indy NXT Oval Series. And Sophie, as much as things were very much different tonight, we saw kind of the heaviest tire wear I think we've seen in series history so far. Things remain the same in those that kind of figure out things and put themselves at the top as Dylan Vilashinsky takes another win at Five Flags.
Yes, I mean, I literally mentioned it earlier. You only get one tire set in the Indy NXT Series, and some people used all of it. They just used it a little too quickly. And those who were able to be patient, really did the preparation and did their homework were rewarded. And that's why Dylan Vilashinsky, once again, extending his points lead with a victory here at Five Flags.
And it'll be certainly interesting as obviously we're heading to a track that he has yet to make to the finish of in one of these broadcast events here on P1 in the Iowa Speedway. Like we said, we hope third time's the charm for him as he always puts on a show. We've actually had quite a few shows as we've gone to the Iowa Speedway. I believe the last race we were there that came down to the wire between Indy Kirchenbauer and Ryan A. Brown. We'll see how that one pans out. And we hope that you all join us next week for that one as well. We'll thank Whiplash Simcams for providing for tonight's cameras. Those drone shots are fun when we get to kind of pivot around the whole track from the front stretch. So those are a good bit of fun. Check them out if you're looking for any sort of iRacing camera needs. We'll thank everybody for joining us here tonight for the Indy NXT Oval Series round number 4 of 2026 Season 2 from Five Flags Speedway. And we'll thank those that do all the difficult jobs all around the world that make it possible to bring you that coverage here we do on P1 of Indy NXT, both on the road courses and the ovals. Have a good night, everyone. We will catch you next time.